Jungle Love is driving this Wonder Boy crazy, and he's not even fighting the Nasty Man. This is Sega Masters. For the second time in 3 episodes, we have another arcade title Sega has brought to their home console. This time around, it's Wonder Boy, the debut entry in another of Sega's early mascot franchises alongside Alex Kidd and Fantasy Zone. The game itself may harken back to the days of simple arcade platformers, but the legacy it spawned is anything but ordinary. In fact, Wonder Boy is notable for launching one of the most horribly confusing series of sequels, spin-offs, and even disguised ports on other consoles. To save us some headaches, this episode will concentrate on the first game only, but we'll dive more into Wonder Boy's fractured lineage in due time. Wonder Boy first appeared in the arcades in 1986 and was manufactured by Sega, but the game was developed by a company called Escape, who would eventually be better known as Westone. The game itself was a simple 1980s run and jump that was basically riding the wave of Super Mario Bros. Success, even following the same formula for the most part. The game made its way to the Master System a year later, while also managing to spawn a well-known series on a competing game console that we'll touch on in a minute. You control a blonde-haired jungle boy named Tom Tom who, like most other 1980s heroes, is out to rescue his lady Tanya from the evil warlord Drankon. Like Mario, Tom Tom's quest involves running and jumping through 9 rounds of 4 stages each, all crawling with creepies and obstacles out to stop you. Tom Tom dies from 1 hit, and he has no natural defenses, but he does have a few power-ups he can obtain from eggs littered along his path. The main one is his hatchet, which is Tom Tom's only weapon to knock the baddies out. Even if you're unarmed, it's not too difficult to slip past your foes to progress in the level. You can even obtain this skateboard from the eggs. Yes, despite being a primitive islander, Tom Tom can somehow channel his inner Tony Hawk for some boarding action. Not only does the skateboard speed you through the level, it also absorbs 1 hit from your foes. You won't die, but you will lose your wheels and have to continue on foot. Certain eggs can also unleash a friendly angel who will grant you temporary invincibility, letting you tear through anything in your path, even rocks and campfires which you normally can't destroy. So yes, the power-up system works quite similar to Super Mario's game. Make it to the goal at the end of the stage and your score is tallied before you challenge the next area and the obstacles it contains. During the action you have to keep an eye on your vitality bar, which acts as a timer. It slowly ticks off as you dash through the levels, and if it runs out before you reach the goal, you die. Apparently saying you starved to death or something. Luckily you can replenish your stamina by grabbing the fruit that magically appears in the air. Just don't crack open a spotted egg, or you'll release a wraith that depletes your bar rapidly. Another thing to look out for are these wooden dolls, which are located somewhere in each level, sometimes even hidden and requiring an action to uncover them. While they're not required to complete the game, collecting all 36 dolls will allow you to access the hidden 10th round, though I'm not sure if you get a special ending or not. You can also find special icons that transport you to bonus stages for extra points. If you've seen the arcade original, you'll be impressed how accurate this port is with both the gameplay and the graphics. The game unfolds at a nice brisk pace, and most everything from the coin-op has made it over to the cartridge with very few omissions. The controls work fine, and for once the Sega cartridge uses the regular NES style layout, so those familiar with Nintendo platformers will be able to dive right in. The visuals are a slight downgrade from the coin-op, but the stages are still vibrant and colorful, and the detailed sprites have some nice animation, though quite a bit of flicker and breakup emerges at certain points. While the pleasant background music is pretty catchy, most of the stages uses the same tune, and only the boss stages have different music. The 4th stage of each round is essentially the build-up to the boss encounter as you make your way past the last few defenses toward his stronghold. Once you confront the boss one-on-one, you simply need to dodge the fireballs he throws at you while chucking your hatchets back at his head. Score enough hits to knock the head off, and the boss flies away to meet you at the end of the next round, even sporting a new head for the next encounter. Now you NES gamers may be thinking, I know I've somehow played this game on my console. And you actually have. Hudson Soft wanted to bring a version of Wonder Boy to the Famicom and NES and tried to license it from Escape, who owned the source code, but Sega somehow owned the rights to the name and character. So Hudson kept the gameplay intact but reworked some of the sprites and characters, especially the protagonist, and the result was this game. Yes, Adventure Island. The first game in Hudson's long-running series on the Nintendo consoles is a reworked port of a Sega arcade game. Other than the graphic edits, the two 8-bit carts are pretty much the exact same game, from the power-ups to even the boss battles. Thus we can technically call Wonder Boy / Adventure Island the second game that graced both 8-bit consoles in the States. Sega's Wonder Boy is clearly superior to Adventure Island with its brighter visuals and somewhat smoother gameplay, but it's not without its flaws. Your character can't jump very high or very far unless you hold the run button down at the same time as the jump button, which can often feel a little clunky. TomTom also has quite a bit of trouble holding his momentum when you need to stop, and I'm not sure it's because he's not wearing any shoes. In any case, you'll often find yourself sliding right into enemies or off ledges in the pits, much to your frustration. With plenty of stages that require precision jumping from ledge to cross wide gaps, all while avoiding obstacles, this can be especially problematic. It seems the only remedy is to just keep moving and never try to stop. Another thing is, the cart doesn't feature much outside the standard platformer formula, and it is even long before some repetitiveness sets in. You see the same types of environments over and over, and each time you encounter it, there's very little variation in the enemies and obstacles, or even the layout. At least Super Mario knew how to switch things up. Even the boss fights have almost no difference among them except for the changing heads. Yet despite its rough edges, Wonder Boy is still an enjoyable platformer that provides some nice classic arcade action, and it never really gets unfair even with a few annoying deaths. Each level has a number of checkpoints to respawn from, and you get unlimited continues without requiring a hidden item and a special code like the NES game. Sega even provided a nice level select cheat right in the manual if you want to jump to the later stages. Overall, Wonder Boy isn't quite a wunderkid in the platformer realm, but it easily trumps its NES cousin and will entertain those willing to give it a shot. As far as where Wonder Boy and Adventure Island both went from here, that, as they say, is another story.